So our speaker today is Shane Pliska. I'm saying that right. He's the president of the interior landscape firm Planterra, which they provide landscapes for corporations, lots of different things, and they have an amazing event space out in West Bloomfield. Hopefully we'll get out there someday for Creative Mornings. Amazing. So Shane is our wonderful speaker today, so please give him a warm round of applause.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
So I was asked to come here to talk about wonder, but before I get into the wonder stuff, I'm just going to give you a little overview of who I am, where I'm going. So this is our conservatory over in West Bloomfield, and I think it's pretty wonderful. We imported it from Belgium in 2009. When we do weddings, it is wonderful. It's pretty magical. I don't know why the slides are kind of.
It's a new bowl for some reason. I apologize.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you can see the structure and the architecture of the space, and we do a lot of flowers and plants. But inside our space when we do weddings. But we also do a lot of corporate spaces. This is our connection to ISCG. If this were in color, you'd see that the plants were green and everything else is gray. And so a big part of what we do is we bring plants into gray spaces. And I have no idea why automotive companies in particular really like the color gray. But I'm sure like ISCG, it's just a struggle to get like a pop of a chair or something, right?
It's getting there. It's just, it might be red and gray. Blue and gray.
So how we got started, this is my dad is in this picture. I don't know if you can guess who he is. But it is a wonder on how they got from 1973. They partied a whole lot. Business today.
Those mustaches are incredible. I know.
And then this is my dad now. We call him the most interesting man. And then which was kind of funny on Instagram, he kind of got popular. And last year, the hashtag Boys with Plants ranked him as the 4th most popular boy. And you can see who he was ranked between. Yeah. So that was a bit of a surprise. For me, I actually came from a film school background. And so there's show business, and show business has a great amount of wonder in it. So when I came to the business, I ended up doing casino displays for us, and this is really related to how plants and nature end up being part of this wonder within the built environment. But my real passion at the moment is travel. I love to travel all over the world. That's my partner, Carl, and I always see interesting things too. That's natural, or maybe not. We don't know, do we? That's in Switzerland over here. And I love trees. I love really big trees, sculptural trees. Both of these trees are about the same age. That's in Portugal, that's in Cambodia. They're about maybe 400 years old. Okay. And so when we think about like how old certain things are, especially in the natural world, it makes us feel really kind of small. This is the Chelsea Flower Show just about a month ago. I wish that was in color because those colors are just incredibly vibrant. So the planet Earth, you've seen the NASA picture before, okay? 4.5 billion years is the age of our planet. And when you look at this chart, people are this little speck. Life being about 500 million years in general, and us only being about 200,000 years. So when people talk about saving the planet, we're not really talking about saving the planet, we're talking about saving life. Yeah. And so all of us, as humans evolved over time, the sky was familiar. That's a familiar sight. And so there's certain natural cues that are related to who we are as human beings and who we really just are as animals and species. And so when we sell our weddings, I have to tie it back to a commercial piece, right? people comment on this photograph and they go, oh wow, look at those stars. Well, actually that's snow. But if they call it stars, it's all the same. We like to say that people get to see the stars under their wedding through our glass ceiling, which is true. You can see the moon, sometimes stars, but in the snow it is absolutely magical. But if we could bottle up that wonder of the galaxy of these stars, if you bottle it up and you turn it into a product or you apply it to design specifically, it's really fascinating. So who here is familiar with the reptilian brain? Okay, so for those of you that don't know the reptilian brain, it is the oldest part of our brain, and it regulates two things. It regulates our emotions and it regulates our vital signs, okay, our heartbeat, how we breathe. That's the reason why when we get nervous, our heart code goes up because we're about to run away from a tiger, okay? It's called the reptilian brain because it's the part of the brain that the reptiles don't have any much more than that. They really don't. They're all about into survival mode. And so throughout human history, we talk about the what we would call the Garden of Eden. I mean, this is a painting from about 150 years ago in the Romantic period. You can see that we romanticize about nature, and this is a universal value. It doesn't matter if you're from the desert or if you're from the city. Every single human being that is alive actually values the use of nature. And it's not acquired. It's not like sports. It's not like champagne. And this is the universal piece that actually makes us relate. And that's the reason why it's hard to see in this picture. That's the Wynn Casino in Las Vegas. Okay? That is what greets you when you first walk in the door. It is there for a specific design. It's there for a purpose. It's just not there to be fancy. It's to help you lose your inhibitions and connect with that reptilian part of your brain to feel comfortable and to open up your wallet. Okay? That's really what it's all about. And it works. And when you walk into a grocery store, there's a reason why Kroger, who actually utilizes flowers as a lost leader, okay, puts flowers in front of the store, and when you walk in, it resets your brain so you're more comfortable, and you say, this place is fresh. We are ready to buy stuff that I'm going to put into my body and consume and give to my family. We are harvesting these things, and that's how it all connects. It's a wonder. And the funny thing is about the humans, we can be tricked really easily. These are artificial. That's green moss, so that was in color. It works with the brain. This is the hospital room, and if you saw the color, that is a window of nature. And there's a replicated study that's occurred a number of times where people use less pain medication, and they have a shorter hospital stay when they have use of nature inside their hospital rooms. It's incredible. So when we worked with Henry Ford Hospital in West Bloomfield, and we installed an atrium in there, that hospital was designed so every single room has a view of either the atrium inside or the forest on the outside. Okay? And hospitals don't do stuff without evidence. It's been replicated since 1984, and this guy really doesn't do stuff without evidence too. Can you recognize him? Jeff Bezos? Okay. He's a data guy, all right? And they just finished their headquarters in Seattle. Those kind of look like plants, don't they? I guess it's a metaphor of his ambition, right? Those are filled with plants. And there's a professor at the University of Michigan that actually has a connection with this facility to where he measures and he gets a report as to how many people enter the spheres and how many people leave. And he measures the carbon dioxide, and he measures how people are doing inside the space too. So they're actually compiling data in a very serious way to determine how this is affecting people inside the space with plants. And there's plants everywhere, and these plant motifs in the design. And so we all know that plants produce oxygen. This is like the 8th grade slide that you probably saw, okay? But there's another piece to it too, and that is what produces the oxygen, what triggers it is through photosynthesis. It all starts with light. So you go back to the stars, right? The star, our star, the sun produces all of our energy. And so I just wrote a white paper, if you go to Planterra/light, on this subject and how to provide light to plants inside buildings, because it is a specialty. But there's a human impact of this too. And so it's this idea that if there's not enough light inside your workspace, okay, to support a plant, there's not enough light for you as a human being. Okay? We have only been putting ourselves inside buildings for 50 years on a regular basis. I mean, and we're going from inside a house, inside a car, to inside a building. I mean, it's totally different from the agrarian society that we've had 100 years ago. And it has an impact. It has an impact on our psychology. We know this. It's called seasonal disorder, where people have to wear those, you've probably seen those visors with those lights or whatever for people in Alaska, where there's barely any light during the winter. Okay? So this is part of the circadian rhythm, and this is the clock that runs the planet. Okay? Seriously. Okay? That is what runs plants. This is how plants know how to bloom. This is when they know how to seed. This is when animals know when to reproduce. They're like clockwork. I have turtles that are in my backyard. Until this spring, they would lay eggs on the exact same day. Exact day. It was always June the 3rd. Okay? They laid their eggs last week. 2 weeks late.
What animal did you say?
Turtles. Yeah, I have snapping turtles where I live. And I'm going to show you pictures of my house, even though, again, it's black and white, not green. But you can imagine these things. And so in an office space, and this is specifically for ISGC here, for hosting us, and that is, there's now office lighting that can be adapted to your circadian rhythm to make you feel more energized, okay? So in the morning, when you have more of the red spectrum, by noon you have more white spectrum, and then by sunset you have the red spectrum again. That actually makes us feel more rested when we're exposed to that light cycle, okay? And that light cycle, you can ask, well, can it be manipulated? Can it make us feel more energized? And the answer is yes. I was at a conference last year, and I was talking to the folks that produce these lights, and I said, well, what corporations decide to extend their daylight hours when they install these lights? He goes, well, Vice News. So they have a 10-hour day of white light to make people feel more alert, because they have pretty long days there, apparently. But, I mean, office spaces have come a long way, and if you think about the amount of time that people spend in the office space, it's incredible. It is another home, and that's the reason why we need to put so much care into what we're doing. We need plants, of course we need plants too. And we thought in the 1970s that we were like really cool when we were putting them in. And this picture's a little ahead of its time. You saw on the back, there's even wallpaper that is a forest scene, okay? But now, this is the future right here. Plants everywhere in this space. You don't see any cubicles really, lots of collaborative space in here, okay? That's WeWork. And so my company, we're doing, WeWork is one of our biggest customers. We do WeWorks all over the country and in Canada. And their vision for how the workspace changes and how we interact with our socially as well as at work is revolutionary, and workers like it, they prefer it. And it's to the point where places like IBM and Microsoft are asking WeWork, you know what, we don't really have a need for co-working space, but we want to tap into this formula that you have, and they're doing it. They're doing entire spaces for them, from soup to nuts. So we like to think, you know, the Renaissance Center back in 1977 was considered innovative when John Cortman did it. Those are flying ficus trees. Today it doesn't look like that at all. Those are originally live trees. But this is the Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. Hanging trees with light fixtures, ficus trees. Pretty cool. This is our living wall over at Planterra. We've been doing lots of living walls. And the technology is so great now that we can really make it really tight. So tight that we have a wall just on a stairwell. And 10 years ago it said never put a living wall on a stairwell. I mean, the water would cause a slip and fall in a minute. But now we have the irrigation technology working so well that we can do that. If you've been at the Delta terminal, you may have seen our living walls where it's really tight right by the terrazzo, and it's been successful. It really has. So this is a sunset, even though it's gray. There must have been some auto person involved with this. And so this weekend, the Detroit News and Free Press is featuring my house, which is in the woods. And it's been in Dwell and Wall Street Journal and such, and I thought I'd share some pictures because it relates to all of this. So I talk about, how we need to live with the circadian rhythms and such, and how important nature is. And so this is part of me kind of walking the talk. So I bought a mid-century modern house in 2013. This is what it looked like then. It was listed as a teardown. And seriously, and when I got it appraised, the appraisal came in at $0.
Oh my God.
And it was valued at land only. Okay. Which for mid-century modern architecture lovers, which is that's crazy. So I restored it. This is what it's like today. It has no lawn. That is periwinkle myrtle. One of the first things I did is I ripped out the lawn completely. I don't believe in lawns. I think they're a waste of time. Okay. I also think I don't think that it's good for the environment with the emissions from the lawnmowers and all the phosphorus that ends up into our water streams because of the fertilizer that we use. And it works great. It's lovely. Okay.
What's it called?
Periwinkle myrtle.
Okay.
It is a creeping ground cover. And it took to that location wonderfully. I recently added 50 steps to go down to the pond in the back, where again, everything is natural. And I just got a puppy. Yeah, he's a little tiny Swiss mountain dog. So it's like living up north, and this is in Bloomfield Hills, and we barely can see a neighbor over there. But it's really about the glass. When I see the sunrise just about every morning, so now I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning. In the winter, I wake up a little bit later, okay, or at least I try to when I can on my schedule. And I feel healthier as a result of being in touch with the natural light, using that as a cycle to wake and to use that as a rest cycle. Every space looks out into the woods. We call it the tree house. And it's floor-to-ceiling windows. Whoops. Again, it's hard to see in these pictures, but you can see it's corner glass. It was designed by an architect in 1956 as a summer cottage for an auto dealer family. And the thing about this house, there's no walls separating the rooms. He had 3 kids, and it turned out not to be a good thing for him. But for me and my partner, it works out great inside the space. And even the bathrooms have natural light coming in with the clear story up above. And the 2 bathrooms are the only enclosed rooms in the whole house. Yeah. So that's really walking the talk. And then the seasons. Actually, the black and white picture actually works well with this. You can see it's all icy. And so that's really the reminder. It's to say that when you're in touch with light, you're really in touch with the planet, and you're in touch with how everything works. And so I guess that's part of today's wonder, is that wonderment of the light. The Egyptians worshiped the sun. King Louis worshiped the sun as well, the Sun King. It's all connected that way. And if we're more conscious with what plants need, what nature needs, we're more sensitive to what the needs are of nature, we're actually doing ourselves a favor, because then we understand what we need as humans better. And it's not about saving the planet as much as it is saving our species. So thank you for the presentation.